Hi quilters, it's Pam from AccuQuilt. So today I'm here to show you how we're going to make a really fun, fast, easy project using our brand new 10-inch cube. So this is the project behind me. This pattern is called Diamond Star, and it's a really easy pattern to use and a great way to use up your stash or your scraps. So to make this particular pattern, you would need from your 10-inch cube die number 2, 4, 5, and 6. When you look at the pattern, it's going to tell you that those are the dies that you need. So today I'm only going to cut one of the blocks that you're going to need for this Diamond Star pattern. So if you want to look here, this is such a great pattern. I love it. So the center is a square on point, and the white are just half square triangles, and then it has 4 flying geese. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the corners just have squares. So it goes together easily because we've cut off the dog ears on those half square triangles and everything works together perfectly. So let me show you the 2 blocks that we're gonna show you today. So this is flying geese. Did you know that every cube has flying geese? I know. Die number 4 and 5 will make you a variety of sizes of flying geese depending on what size cube you have. Okay, so die number 6 is this die right here, and this is square on point. It's not just a square that we turned on its side. It's square on point. We've actually measured the hypotenuse, which comes to a different size than if you just measure a square where you would just measure one of the sides and they would all be equal. So this one actually measures to 4 1/16. You go home and try to cut that with your rotary cutter. Never gonna work. So square and point, and then we're going to show you how to cut the half square triangles that go on the outside of that square and point. So here is die number 5. Now you'll notice in our 10-inch cube, die number 5 has 2 half square triangles on it. So keep that in mind that some of our dies have multiple pieces. So you want to read those pattern instructions so that you don't cut too much fabric. All right, so let's cut the square and point first. So I'm going to take my fabric and I'm going to find the lengthwise green. That lengthwise green is nice and tight, and that's what you want to have come through the cutter. So I'm going to take my fabric, and you can do 2 things. You can do the pull test and listen. So listen, low and wonky, high and tight. High and tight is right. That's the lengthwise green. If I was just cutting off the edge of my bolt, the salvage edge away from me, that would also show me where the lengthwise green is. So now with my Go dies, I can cut up to 6 layers of fabric in one pass. And it's 90% faster than with rotary cutters or scissors. So I'm gonna take the label and put it at my belly and the lengthwise green back and forth across the die board. So I'm gonna take my fabric right here and I'm just gonna kind of fan fold back and forth. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little trick. So see here this little tail? Don't let that tail stress you out. There are no blades inside our Go fabric cutter or our Go big, so you can actually just kind of accordion it next to the die and run it through the cutter and it won't cut. It'll be nice and easy. So watch this. I'm going to put it right here in my Go fabric cutter, turn the handle. All right. So if you lift up the mat, all the pieces kind of fly everywhere. Static kind of builds up in there. So give it a little love. And then you want to slide that mat off. Don't lift. So ta-da! Now we have cut perfect square on points. Look at how great that is. All right, so I'm going to set this right here for a minute. I'm going to do the exact same thing with die number 5. That label at my belly. Lengthwise green back and forth across the die board. Now it just so happens that this white on white actually has a little bit of the salvage, so I know if the salvage is away from me, that's the lengthwise green. Now you'll notice that I kind of rough cut these strips that I use both for the square on point and the half square triangles. Let me show you this little trick. What you want to do is you want to measure the width of the shape that's on the die board and then just add 1/4 inch on either side. And then you can just rough cut that strip off the edge of your bolt. It's a great way to use up those big yardages of fabric that you have. If you're using scraps, you don't have to worry so much about that. So again, I'm just going to come back and forth across the die board. And I'm just going to barely cover that shape. That two-tone foam there, that's going to show you where to lay down the fabric so you know where the fabric belongs. Put the cutting mat on top. Again, don't stress about that tail. See, it came through just great. Give it some love, slide, don't lift, and then ta-da! We have cut perfect half square triangles. So not only have we cut perfect half square triangles, but we've cut off the dog ears for you. This right here now is a perfect 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to put one of these blocks together. So we're going to do square on point. Hey, this is kind of a cool thing. Any of you made a square and a square? These are the 2 dies you need for square and a square. It's also part of our Storm at Sea. All right, look at this. So I'm going to take right sides together, and I'm going to line them up just like this. And you want to go opposite sides, because if you try to sew them in this direction, it's not going to work. Okay, it's going to make a big mess. So take white on white. I have to tell you right now, I am loving white on white fabric. I've made a couple of different projects using that. Okay, so now see how this looks pretty? So I'm going to take my pins, and I really want to pin it, quilters, because you don't want to just be sewing without these pins. You want them to stay right there so that they stay lined up. Okay. Did you know that half square triangles are my all-time favorite shape? I love them because it's a great way to use up my stash and my scraps. All right, so I've pinned my half square triangles. Now I'm going to come here to my sewing machine. Now I've put red thread in it for you so that you can see how it looks once I've sewn it, but you of course would have a neutral color in there. You want to make sure you come to a 1/4 inch seam, and it's really easy to find because we've cut off the dog ears and those points are there, so you can see where that 1/4 inch seam starts. Okay, so I've done one side, and then I'll flip it this way and do the other. When I'm at events, I love to hear what quilters snack on in their sewing room. You'd be surprised. Okay, here in the Dream Studio, we like brownies. All right, so now look, I've stitched that perfect 1/4 inch seam, so now I can take out my pins. All right, quilters, so you want to read your instructions so you can see which way you want to press this fabric. So we're going to actually press towards those half square triangles. Give it a little press right here. Okay, now look how pretty this is. All right, so now we're going to take 2 more half square triangles. We're going to put them right here on the other side. Okay, and then we're going to pin the other one to the other side. So see how we did that? We didn't build around it like a clock. We went opposite sides with those half square triangles. And since we cut off the dog ears, you can see right perfectly where those seams should line up. Get a little pin in here. All right, let's bring it back over here. Come right here where that 1/4 inch seam is. Come to the other side. All right, take out our pins. Again, we're going to read our instructions, make sure we're pressing it correctly, and we're going to press out towards those half square triangles. This is such a slick process. Look at this. And look, ta-da. Here, let me press this right here because it was going to stick. So ta-da, we have our center square and a square. So look how fun that is. Also, don't forget you need to make flying geese. So you want to refer to the pattern. You're going to need die number 4 and 5. And then you too can make this beautiful diamond star quilt. Again, you can make it the same color. You can make it scrappy, whatever you want. Also, quilters, if you're looking for additional cubes, we have some companion sets that go with our 10-inch cube. They're called corners and angles, so you can find those at AccuQuilt.com or from your local signature retailer. Also, if you're looking to add to your collection of cubes, you can get the 6, 8, 9, and 12-inch cubes either from your local signature retailer and AccuQuilt.com. We'd love to see finished projects. You can post them with us. And remember, at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time so you can quilt more.